In tonight's Green Report, the oil barons of the world and the militaries that rely on that oil are seeing new opportunities in the North Pole as global climate change kicks into high gear. Warming weather is leading to the northern ice cap melting, uncovering a treasure trove of oil and natural gas reserves. Scientists believe that the Arctic is storing 13% of the world's untapped oil and nearly a third of the world's undiscovered natural gas. As the ice melts, access to these resources becomes easier and shipping lanes open. So now northern nations are scrambling to stake out their chunk of Arctic resources, as well as running military operations in the area should they have to fight for these resources in the not too distant future. In fact, 2 months ago, military leaders from the United States, Canada, Russia, Iceland, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, and Finland met to discuss security issues around the Arctic. But shouldn't these nations have the exact opposite approach to disappearing ice in the Arctic? Why are we looking for more fossil fuels to burn while we're watching our world melt from fossil fuel-induced climate change? Dan Howells joins me now. He's the Deputy Campaigns Director for Greenpeace USA. Dan, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. Just how insane is it that instead of addressing the dangerous melting of ice in the Arctic, nations are looking to profit from it?
Well, I think it shows the insanity of our political process when you have the military, the Coast Guard, the Secretary of State all going and talking about climate change and the effects that it's having on the Arctic, and in the same breath turning around and saying, oh, but we're going to go and exploit that instead of trying to address it. It means that something's wrong in our country, and we need to really look at how we are producing and using energy. And the Arctic is the canary in the coal mine when you look at everything that's wrong with what we've been doing for the last at least several decades.
And yet we're to torture the metaphor, we're going to take that canary and light its feathers on fire. What are the consequences for our planet if these resources in the Arctic are tapped?
Oh, more fossil fuel. I mean, everything from burning the oil that comes out of that they might find, the natural gas that they might find, the increased shipping that will put more pollution into the ecosystem up there that is just going to continue to exacerbate climate change. I mean, the amounts of pollution involved with drilling for fossil fuel is immense, and then you do it in a place like the Arctic, which is incredibly sensitive, and to use the metaphor again, the canary in the coal mine of what's wrong with our energy policies. It's a horrible step down a path that we've been going down for far too long. Is there potential, in addition to destroying the Arctic, and in addition to throwing more carbon in the air, is there a potential for war in the Arctic as well? Well, anytime you're looking at the resources that people are talking about up there, I don't think you have to look much further than geopolitical problems of today, where we're talking about Iran. We've just gotten out of a war with Iraq. We're still in a war in Afghanistan. There's always a possibility for conflict when you're looking at a place that is becoming somewhat easier as far as the extreme environment that the Arctic is to extract those resources. But these are countries. You know, we were talking just a second ago talking about war. You're talking about countries going against countries. Don't we have now transnational oil companies that are more powerful than most countries? Oh, you could certainly make that argument. I mean, again, if you look at our energy policies, who's really running the show here? We've seen this since at least Nixon, presidents of the United States saying we need to look at our energy policy, and the only thing we've done is continue to do what the big oil companies, the big coal companies, any of the fossil fuel companies want us to do, which is keep mining, keep drilling, keep burning. Yeah. We're in a really horrible situation until people stand up to it. Yeah, absolutely agreed. I would say other than maybe the last year of the Carter administration when he actually tried to put us in a different direction. But of course, then came Reagan and off went Carter's solar collectors. And anyhow, Dan Howells, thanks so much for being with us tonight. Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity. Centuries of mistreatment are starting to take a toll on our planet. The entire world needs to get involved right now to confront mankind's biggest crisis, climate change, before it's too late.